Let's Go Home by kelwin. It started when they were going to school in the school bus. Someone started to talk about marbles, and he was always so interested in marbles that, as he listened, he began to forget. At first only a little, but as the fervor of the discussion increased, he joined in the talk, and it was then that he forgot completely. And afterwards, he did not know how he could have forgotten like that. But perhaps it was not so strange after all. Everyone had always said he was too sensitive, and so absent-minded at this age. Perhaps it was he who was strange. The bus rolled in through the gates and crunched on the gravel. It was always the familiar crunch that told him they were in. They broke up and jumped out with their bags and boxes, and outside, as he stood waiting for the rest to come down, the morning hill air felt good and smelt cool, clean and fresh, and the birds were chirping in the row of trees that ran along the gravel way. When the last boy was out, the bus rolled out of the gates again and they crunched along the gravel towards the stone entry porch. As they went in, someone observed, "Why, today's Saturday. Always like Saturday because the next day is Sunday. Don't you?" He answered, "Yes." He thought, Saturday, no day like it. Even class on Saturday was not as bad as on other days, and everyone, including the teacher, seemed happier with the prospect of the evening and the morrow. For him, it was mainly the evening and fun at home with his mother. He had lost his father. On other days there was always homework to do and dinner to prepare. But on Saturday they both were free. He did only a little of the homework, and his mother finished cooking early. Saturday evening meant a lot to him. And then there was, of course, the matinee on Sunday, about the only excitement of a rather quiet day. They passed the dining room. The boarders were still at breakfast and they could hear the boys talking and the clatter of plates and knives, forks, spoons, cups and saucers. There was such a noise. "They're having plantains this morning," Peter said, creeping up to one of the entrances. "Hey, Whiskey, let's have a plantain," he called out to the boy sitting at the table nearest to him. Whiskey scowled, but on second thoughts threw him a skin. It looked so funny that all laughed. Class began at 8:30, and since it was Saturday, it began with Reading, and Miss Moss reminded the boys of 3 colored action postcards on her desk that went every Saturday to the first 3 boys who read best. It was an exciting period, always looked forward to. After reading, came arithmetic, which did not fare well with him. He was always falling asleep and then having to write 50 lines. Today, Miss Moss did not assign him a task and only asked someone to rouse him, but he wondered why. Then they had English, and that wound up Saturday morning. He had lunch with the boarders and a few other day scholars, and Mr. White, the master in charge, who had his lunch at another table with Mr. Brown and Mr. Black, gave him a helping of the teacher's pudding. He was such a sensitive boy, so that should have made him remember, but since the marbles in the bus he had completely forgotten and was so happy. In the afternoon they had history and geography and, because it was Saturday, they went upstairs to the library for the last hour. There he read a tale about how a clever young prince foiled an evil ogre and escaped from its clutches. It was exciting and at the same time comical, and he enjoyed it. He would tell it to his mother when he got home. She would like it, and he could enjoy it all over again with her. Then the bell rang. Time to go home. Books were hurriedly put back and boxes were snatched up from the rear of the room where they had been left. And, except for the boarders waiting rather forlornly at their desks, everyone else dashed out as if home were a train they would miss if they were late. He did not take a bus with the rest of the day scholars this time, he walked it. With 4 others, Ned, Ram, Peter and Gopal. As they walked along the road, with the green and daisy-covered hill on one side and the railed-off slope on the other, the sun was bright and warm and the sky was blue. They talked and laughed a lot. Today was Saturday and tomorrow Sunday. He picked up a blade of grass and nibbled at it while Ram slid his ruler along the railing. This evening, Ned was going to the pictures, Ram was going for ice cream with his visiting uncle. Peter was going horse riding. Gopal was going to a wedding. As for himself, he was happy, so happy. He would go home, and after a quick wash there would be lemon pie on the table, with a large slice ready on a plate for him. The thought made him want to hurry. His mother always made lemon pie on Saturdays. He would tell his mother the tale he had read at school, when they were at tea. And, after tea, they would go out into the garden. His mother would do some weeding. He would have to water his plants. Had he already watered them? He could not remember. He had better see about it, the first thing when he got home. They had reached the short cut to his home. "Okay, see you Monday," he said, ducking under the railing off the road, and picking his way down the slope. But just before he started he heard someone say, "But he doesn't live." And then someone else saying, "Shush shush shush," and then a lot of giggling. But he did not mind them, because as he picked his way down the shortcut his mind was so full and happy with the anticipation of home and his mother, of the lemon pie and the plants in the garden. After a little while, he saw the red roof, bright in the sun, grinning wide and happy in the distance. He brightened and began running a little faster. In a little while more he would see the white sides of the house, the curtains flying in the windows and his mother waiting and waving from the kitchen. But he had not gone very much further when, all of a sudden, clear out of the blue, there was something wrong. He could feel it. At first it was only a feeling, a suspicion, then it grew and thickened in him, it began whispering in his ear, "Don't go." It swelled in him and became heavier and he had to slow down. He slowed down to a snail's pace and then came to a dead stop, thinking. Everything was so quiet and strange. A bird chirped in a tree and after the sound had died away, it seemed quieter and stranger. He felt himself getting goose pimples when he started to take a few steps further. Then he saw that there were no flying curtains beckoning to him and all the windows were closed, the flowers and plants were drooping in a pathetic sort of way. And he had a sudden and full recollection, that he was not living there any more but up the hill at his aunt's, that the house was empty and his mother had died 1 week ago. At first, he just stood still, looking, not knowing what he should do. There was a big lump in his throat and he felt like crying. Then tears came into his eyes and he wanted to cry a lot. But he could only cry quietly. Please like, share, comment and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.